receive counselling for a number of reasons, none of which I should explain because we shouldn't stigmatise people who go for counselling. Um, but no, I go counselling, and basically I went in today to the centre. I arrived about 10 minutes early, and there was a woman there and her daughter, and I just walked in halfway through the conversation, and the woman was saying, "Oh, I'm going to come in with her. I'll come in with her." The counsellor said, "Oh, well, we don't usually do that. We usually just take the client in on their own, and if they need support later on, then um, you can come in. But if you feel really overwhelmed, you can bring your mum in with you." And the girl was like, "No, no, I'll be okay." And the mum was like, "Oh well, maybe I should come in later on." And the girl was like, "Well, we'll see how it goes." Um, so like I came to the toilet, and I walked through the room, went to the toilet, had my hood up, and I came back and sat down, and I was just thinking, how must this mum feel? First of all, that her daughter is going to see a counsellor for whatever reason, and secondly, what does she think about people in general who go to counselling? And there was me with my hood up. I was biting on my nails. I was rocking back on the chair, and I found myself this sort of self-fulfilling behaviour where I started acting quite weird. Like I rolled my zip up, and I was like playing with my ear, and I was really hyper, like looking all over the place. And I found myself almost acting up to what my perception was of how she thought I should behave. If that makes sense. So yeah, I found myself sort of playing up. Part consciously and part subconsciously, really. Well, obviously part of it's consciously, I won't be talking about it. But yeah, it just made me think. Hey, I mean, supposing that her mum was uncomfortable about her going to counselling, and that's just a supposition, she did look quite uncomfortable afterwards. Why? And what was she thinking about me? And it just made me think. Well, you know, stigmatization in general. Um, yeah, quite peculiar. I mean, I'm pretty open-minded. I mean, I've worked for Samaritans, and the job that I work in at current, I work with people who have suicidal ideation, and people who have depression and schizophrenia and stuff like that. And generally, my number one rule is basically just to treat them as a person, really. And yeah, I mean, my experience of my experience in life, anecdotal evidence is that the general public tends to react quite negatively to mental health, and if I've had friends in the past who've gone through depression, eating disorders, um, acute schizophrenia, and the way that the other friends and family react to that is just, it's crazy. I mean, one friend in particular who had an eating disorder, I went round to her house, and her mum said, "Oh, look at these lovely buns, Oliver. Don't you think you should get so and so to eat some of them?" And then let's just call her Rachel. So Rachel's mum was saying, "Oh, Oliver, you'll have loads and loads of cakes. Come on, eat some cakes. Get Rachel eat some cakes. You want some of these cakes, don't you, Rachel? You need to fatten her up." And I was just like, wow. I mean, obviously everyone's got a different way of dealing with mental health and dealing with their own daughter having difficulties, but no, it was just it's really strange. It just sort of made me think, fucking hell. You read in a newspaper, you read the stories, and the way that they're written, and sometimes it's written like, I remember one particular story that was in the newspaper, and it was like um, I think it was mentally ill have a house to their own, and basically it was about four guys who had schizophrenia, and they were given a home to live in, and they had like support in the morning and the evening, but throughout the day they didn't have any support, and it's basically written like, these fucking four loons have a house to like run around in. What? It's crazy. And I just think, well, like, yeah, people with mental health problems, they're just a part of society, and they shouldn't be like shut up or housed away or hospitalised, or we shouldn't think any differently about people who have mental health problems, because we all will probably have a mental health problem in our time, and I think the people that accept it are probably better people for it. You know, I think if you're suffering from difficulties, relationship difficulties, or things of self-esteem, confidence, they're just depression is just an extension of those. And people really need to be more open, because if you don't talk about things, you make them a taboo. That's when the problems occur. That's when people have mental health breakdowns. That's when people, fucking commit suicide out on a whim. That's when people have relationship and marital discourse because they're not open and they don't talk about their feelings. Yeah, and another news story. I've often seen news stories which are like, oh, local man murders boy. Like that's a really shit headline, but just take that. And often mental health is used as a scapegoat for it. And sometimes, yeah, that is the reason why people, commit crime and people get themselves in trouble because of mental health. But using it as an excuse in the way that we do it, we actually disempower and disenfranchise people who have mental health problems because we say, oh, okay, they're different to us. And we keep that segregation open. We block all channels of communication and channels of flow between them. We shouldn't think of people who are mentally ill and people who are mentally stable. We should just think of people, and everyone's got fucking problems. And yeah, there's this sort of age old, is it adage? Is that the word? Age old adage? Age old saying of like, 1 in 4 of us will suffer from a mental health problem. So 1 in 4 of us suffers from a mental health problem. Call 3 of your friends. If they're all okay, it's you that's got the problem. Now I don't agree with the sentiment that mental health is a problem, but I guess it just like demonstrates like the ubiquity of mental health. Yeah, it's crazy. We all have problems. Think of anyone, anyone in the world, anyone their family members, themselves, their partners, someone they know has had an issue with mental health, and the ones that say they don't, they've probably got mental health problems as well. And sorry, I just use the word problems. Yeah, we all have difficulties, and it's just about being open to them. Lord Layard, he's a fucking dick. He's an economist, but basically he said he's got a good point. He's got a good point that depression and anxiety are the most prevalent important issues within our society. Mental health basically is a bigger problem than drug addiction and poverty within the UK. In terms of numbers, yeah. So I don't know, next time you meet somebody who's feeling a little bit down, next time you're in the office and you ask someone how they are and they tell you that they're not okay, or you sense that someone's feeling down or they're acting a bit strangely, or I don't know, one of your friends tells you they're depressed, don't freak out because that's humanity and it's okay to feel in touch with your emotions. And sometimes we have difficulties, sometimes we feel like we want to kill ourselves, sometimes we feel like we can't live anymore, that life's pointless and meaningless. But that is just part of the human emotion and part of the human experience. And the more you shy away from mental health, the more you become afraid of people. Like you're going to be infected by depression. Like you're going to be brought down. Like it makes it too real. The more that you think like that, the more you try and stay away from things. The more we put these barriers in society, the more difficult we have with connecting people. The more difficult we have with connecting with ourselves. Because the moment that it comes when we have to face an issue ourselves, we'll be so sedimented with all that bedrock, we'll be so suffocated by it all that we won't know how to deal with it. It's kind of like opening up the Jack in the Box. Mental health. Who was it? Melanie Klein. Was it Melanie Klein? Psychoanalyst said that basically the people that prepare themselves for misery will succeed in life, will be able to get through difficult times because they're used to it. And yeah, it's kind of the whole idea that there is no light without darkness, so people have to endure difficulties to be able to cope with life. And if you don't confront your issues head on, you don't face your difficulties, then when you actually do have a problem, a serious problem, you're really going to suffer from it. So yeah, that wasn't the major point. The major point is basically that we're all people. We need to demystify the taboos around mental health. We need to destigmatize. We need to realize that everyone is human and everyone has issues. It's crazy, crazy. The more open we are about talking about mental health, the more, children should be talking to their parents about it. We're not trying to scare kids, but we've got to give them realistic preparation. Children should be talking about parents. We should be talking about it with friends. We should be open, because the reason why people take their lives, the reason why people have such difficulty is because they feel alone and trapped, and they feel like they're ashamed and embarrassed of their emotions and the way that they feel. But that is us. Human beings are emotions. Without it, we're just empty vessels, and we just need to be more caring, more open, less judgmental. me included. So yeah, mental health. Don't be ashamed. Thank you. Hi. This was turned out to be a long one.